What's next for Zack Ryder, who's now called Matt Cardona? That's his real name. He left WWE. Well, he was released by WWE in mid-April, and after 3 months of sort of, working out, it seems, and eating all the protein powder, because my word is he looking in good shape, he turned up for AEW on last night's episode of Dynamite, coming to Cody Rhodes' savior to rescue. I should have said rescue. I'm Oli Davis. This is Luke Owen. Welcome to the AEW Dynamite review, where we're opening with this news that Matt Cardona, as we're now going to call him, is officially in AEW after being teased for just ever, really. Cody has been very public about how he wants his very good friend in real life, Zack Ryder, to come and join him in AEW. And now he's here. And it was just kind of like a bit in the middle of the show.
Yeah, so this was following the Cody Warhorse match. I think that the Warhorse thing was a really nice red herring because it was Warhorse. No one was talking about like a potential ex-WWE guy showing up to answer the call or anything. And I think, a lot of the chat was around, will AEW sign Warhorse? So I think bringing Matt Cardona into this point here was be like, oh God, actually, yeah, I didn't think of doing that. I didn't think they were going to do that at this point. So I thought it was actually a very clever red herring on AEW's part. With that said, I think if we're going to put sort of a money on the table of what we think is next, I think it's going to be Cody versus Matt for the TNT title at All Out. I think Cody will likely win, and I worry that Matt will just become another Shawn Spears.
Yeah, the Shawn Spears is the sort of specter of, people who have gone from WWE to AEW, and sort of in WWE, there's all this potential of being a really talented, over with a portion of the audience wrestler who's not really booked to the extent of their abilities, but it's a big pond there to this smaller pond where I would argue that maybe not the level of talent overall is better than WWE, but certainly the way they are presented. And then when everyone's being booked to a very good degree, you kind of need stand out a bit more. And I think, Shawn Spears, as great as he is, he's not on the level of a lot of the other guys on the roster. And I don't know how much of that is because of the WWE fallout. We haven't seen it with FTR. We haven't seen it with the Revival. They have really established themselves as a top act in this tag division. But with Shawn Spears, Luther might be another one. I just kind of... But yeah, Zack Ryder, now Matt Cardona. It's going to be tough to shake that, a decade of being told that he is a jobber.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. Before I do, there was a comment I just wanted to bring up here, which was, Ollie, please fix your hair. Your Superman curl is madly distracting.
Don't you like it? It's a hot day here, and I can touch the fan. I'm touching the fan, and look at it. It's like
Very
like
nice.
the last strand of hair is trying to escape from my head.
But yeah, I think you're actually right. Like if this was Zack Ryder jumping to the competition, like if this was Zack Ryder jumping to TNA in 2010, 2011, when like Z True Long Island Story was at its hottest, then I think that's probably why the Revival FTR still feel like they've sort of established themselves as a top act, because they're still riding their wave of like internet popularity, of the internet being like, man, what a madly underutilized team in WWE. What idiots they were for letting them go. Zack Ryder, on the other hand, Matt Cardona, is unfortunately been, as you say, been treated like a joke. I mean, not even like after Z True Long Island Story, while Z True Long Island Story was becoming a big internet sensation, they were still treating him like a joke because they didn't like him. They didn't like the fact that he got over, and so punished him for doing so. So he's been treated like a joke, for 12, 15 years.
It's really sad because it's not Zack Ryder's fault that the most over he's ever been in his career, when he was arguably in his prime, I don't know how old he is now, but if he's a similar age to Cody, it'd be. I'm just trying to Google this. He's 35. You know, that's
same age as me.
Yeah, so he's not in like the early, but you know, when he was getting over, he was in his early 20s, which is quite an exciting time to have a new talent. But he's not. He's essentially in a veteran part of his career now, but he hasn't got all of that good body of work beforehand outside of the internet show to sort of carry him through now. So it is such a shame that WWE has booked him into this position even when he leaves WWE. And I think AEW know this, and I think they've been very smart, because this wasn't a big show closing angle where Matt Cardona runs in to save Cody. Wow, look, Cody's here. Because we did that with Jake Hager on the first episode, and I still argue that that wasn't good. It really
And I think now we know why it didn't feel that good, is because it was supposed to be Gallows and Anderson.
Yes.
Like, you know, which they've said in their Talking Shop podcast, it was supposed to be them. They were supposed to be the big episode 1 debut, which is then why, like, you know, Jack Swagger didn't quite feel as big time as Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah. But I think AEW know that this isn't a big deal, really, that Matt Cardona is unfortunately not past it, but he's stale. He's got loads of baggage. Yeah, like it was hard, it seemed, for the AEW audience to accept the Revival as a decent tag team from the offset, but that's thankfully changed very quickly. But with Cardona, you know, he's not got like this great body of work where I can point to this match or that match and say, man, that was a 5-star classic, or even like 4.5. So this is a very in-ring work-based company, and I'm not writing them off because, you know, I really, really like the guy. I was obsessed with the True Long Island Story. I had the T-shirt. I had the coat. Brush your hair. I can't remember any of the catchphrases. This is why I lose at Quizzlemania. My long-term memory is no good. Thanks.
Well, it was also 10 years ago, and WWE did have something that was quite potentially hot that the crowd wanted, and were like, nope, you're not having that whatsoever. They had a show in Long Island and didn't book him on that show at the height of his popularity.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Zach, or Matt, rather. I'm going to have to get used to this for a bit.
Yeah.
So what might they do with Cardona now that he's here, in an effort to shake off that baggage? You reckon, he turns on Cody? Is this like a respectful feud?
I think you could turn him here. Like, I mean, it does have the shades of the Shawn Spears feud from last year, which is that Spears came into the company, he was Cody's mate, this, that, and the other, and then he does the big heel turn, and then they have a match at All Out. But and so there will be shades of that, but I still think you can do it with Cardona as well. And he does the heel turn next week on Cody. You build to their match at All Out and completely repackage him. Try something new, because, you know, he's been babyface forever. So you come in, fresh coat of paint. Why not try something new?
Yeah. And I think of all the people, Cody is going to be so motivated to get Cardona over, because they're very good friends in real life. And look, Cody puts over people he doesn't even know. He's like pathologically obsessed with making the other guy look amazing in the ring. I agree with you, though. Cardona should not be taking the title off of Cody. So I've got another suggestion.
Maybe he could. I mean, I wonder if Cody's learned his lesson from not putting Shawn Spears over at All Out, which I still think was the wrong call. That, you know, maybe he's going to put Matt over at All Out and give him the title.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But is Cardona someone you want to put over at the expense of Cody and the TNT Championship? Because it's not just Cody you'll be affecting there. Unless Cardona is like this incredible run in the next 4 weeks, this is your TNT Championship. It's a new belt. Right. You want to protect that lineage in the offset. You want those big title reigns. So here's my other one. I think you're right. I think, you know, they could just work on the brotherly feud of respect. That's another way to take it, but it is kind of more of the same for Ryder. So yeah, I think a heel turn would be the most intriguing there. But what about Cardona going into a feud with the Dark Order, who have their tentacles everywhere on AEW at the moment. I love it because there's this resentment with the Vince McMahon style character.
And they're facing Dark Order, next week. So if you are going to put Ryder into that group, then yeah, like next week makes sense. And you're right, you got that sort of he's not a Vince McMahon character though, Oli Davis. Like I think it's been made abundantly clear at this point, it's not a Vince McMahon parody.
You're totally right. I don't know what came out of my mouth there. It's a mafia Don personality. But yeah, I think I think there's a story to be told with Cardona embodying the fan base's rage against a lot of people being let go by the other company in the pandemic, which Brody Lee and the Dark Order could be a proxy for. But I also understand why you would not want to go that route.